We're finding the first loss for all 10 2-0 NFL teams today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate you all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved.
Joe, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
You here on the program. Happy Thursday in advance for when we record our Bills-Dolphins crossover immediately after this.
Yeah. So if we have the same stuff on.
Extra show.
Yeah,
our Thursday show on our individual programs. We got the game Thursday night. Tomorrow we're picking all the games for week 3. But for now, after looking at the winless teams and deciding when they will secure their first win of the season, we are now looking at the undefeated teams and deciding when their first loss will come, if one comes, because you never know. Might be the year.
Might be the year.
You never know.
I do have a request for a team to start with.
Okay. And you strategically told me not to start with it this time, so I couldn't spoil whatever your talking point was, which I respect. Go ahead. The
Chargers. And the reason is because I've done all the pre-work on the episode art. It's all Chargers related, so,
Okay.
I need to make sure we check that box.
I see a lot of competitive games on the schedule, but I see a lot of winnable games, and they're at home for a lot of the intense matchups that they have in the immediate future. I think that this is a good call out.
Well, the Chargers are such an interesting team because I think they're billed as this want to run the ball, and I think that's true. But if you look at when Herbert came back from injury last year, their pass rate over expectations, like number 1 in the NFL, and it's continued this year. And they're not really running the ball that well. Herbert's really throwing the ball a ton. You forget this guy passed for 5,000 yards in his second season. And obviously the defense is humming right now. I'm curious to see how that evolves throughout the course of the season because we saw that defense start hot and kind of fade down the stretch. But this team looking really good, and they're 2-0 with a head-to-head win over the Chiefs.
Yeah, they got Quentin Johnston rolling a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's there's a lot of opportunity to get Ladd McConkey continued to be more involved from a volume perspective. So, but yeah, and this is without Rashawn Slater, right? So that's I think what makes it all that much more impressive, the start that they're off to. They have the Broncos this week, but in LA, and they're at the New York Giants, and then they're home against the Commanders. So they get that one at home. Then they get the Dolphins in Miami in week 6. Then they have the Colts, who are also undefeated, but that's in week 7, and it's in LA. And then they have Minnesota. What's the situation at quarterback? That's at home on a short week on Thursday. Then you're in Nashville against the Titans. And then you're home against the Steelers. We're past week 10 right now.
They could rip off some wins, dude.
They could really rip off some wins here.
Their last stretch is a little tougher, but if you're a Chargers fan, you got to be excited about where this is potentially going. Kyle, the game that I have circled, Indianapolis. I know it's at SoFi, but I think that is the opponent from an offensive perspective that can stress the Chargers in the ways that I'm concerned, right? With Jonathan Taylor in that run game, and they got some receiving talent, and I don't know about these Chargers corners. That's the game that I have circled as the game I think they have the first opportunity to have a hiccup here.
That really stood out to me for what the Colts have done. I mean, they've had answers against the blitz. The first two, Daniel Jones has been outstanding against the blitz the first 2 weeks of the season. The Broncos could barely touch him with the blitz.
Yeah.
They have the physicality. They have the physical skill group. They can run the ball in the ways and stress the Chargers front, because those other two teams have not really had a chance to do that. The Chargers played again, early down pass over expectation. That's where you kind of put a defense back on its heels. Well, the Chiefs were then chasing the game, and they really haven't had a consistent running game to begin with anyway.
Right.
So I will pick the Colts in that game.
Same here. Certainly a winnable game for the Chargers. Like, don't.
Yes, it is a winnable game.
I'm not going to pick them to be 12-0 either, you know? So,
and if they win that game, I think Pittsburgh's a pretty decent chance to be the kind of team that could challenge you in that way. Maybe all the new pieces kind of settle in for Pittsburgh. I think that's some of the question here early in the season for them. Do they get better as the season rolls on? Philly, week 14. Phil, I mean, you want to talk about a team with physicality and being able to run the ball, and then you're +1 to an even more degree with Jalen Hurts in the run game than what the Colts are. This has a chance to, if they play to the standard offensively that they've set early in the year, this could be a very lofty win total team. Just looking off the first half of the schedule.
I totally agree.
You want to do the Colts next, since we just picked the Colts to beat the Chargers in week 7?
Yes, let's do the Colts. At Tennessee this week. At the Rams in week 4.
Next week's the game.
Week 4.
Yeah. I think the Rams have a good opportunity to Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams against their current cornerback situation.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of team, and it's at home, and it's a well-coached team with Sean McVay. You could put the Colts in a little bit more of a detrimental game script, and then they've got an undersized front. They don't have a lot of like prototype builds on their defensive front. But I think if you play with a lead, that group can really be disruptive and then interrupt Daniel Jones without having to bring pressure and blitz.
Yeah, I like the matchups for the Rams in the passing game to put a lot of strain on Indy to keep up in LA at the Rams house, as they call it.
Rams house.
Yeah, Rams house.
You want to get one more in? Do another AFC team? We could segue to do the Rams because we just picked the Rams to beat the Colts like we just did with the Colts to beat the Chargers. But
how about we sneak in the Bengals, Kyle? This seems like an easy team to sneak in, the Jake Browning Bengals. Maybe Mike White will take over as a starting quarterback, you know?
Enjoy your time above 500, Cincinnati.
Well, we get Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning Sunday at 1:00. What are you doing then? I'm watching that, obviously, right?
And I'm concerned about Jake Browning against the Minnesota defense, needless to say.
Yeah.
I'm also concerned about Carson Wentz keeping it between the lines.
For sure.
But we have Kevin O'Connell, right? So they could very easily lose this week at Minnesota. Aaron Jones just went on IR for them as well. So there's a lot of interruption for Minnesota. They get Addison back after this week, right? It was only a 3-game suspension for him.
I feel like I want to say yes to that, but I could be convinced it's longer.
Even if they beat Minnesota, Denver on Monday Night Football week 4. Yeah. Those two defenses, and then, oh, by the way, you got Detroit and Green Bay the next 2 games.
I think they drop to Minnesota on the road in week 3.
I'm not going to fight you with it. So we'll have, like I said, enjoy your time above 500. Because if you lose to Minnesota and then you lose to Denver, you go Detroit, Green Bay the next 2. It will be an uphill climb to get back up with Jake Browning across a 15-game slate.
All right. One more team to do in the AFC. That's the Bills. We got the Eagles, Packers, Bucks. We got a lot. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to all that here next, folks. Be sure to stick with us. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is Joey Bosa's forced fumble against the Jets on the Jets' second offensive series. The Bills force a 3-and-out to start the game. Then they get the ball and score a touchdown. They're up 7-0. Then they give the ball back to the Jets. And on the very first play, Joey Bosa forces a fumble of Justin Fields, and that gives the Bills a short field, and then they go up by 2 scores with 10 minutes or 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and now the Bills can play with a lead and put the Jets in a style of game that they don't want to play, and I thought that was instrumental in Buffalo getting a big road win. So when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning, and just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved.
Okay.
All right.
The Buffalo Bills have Miami at home, the Saints at home, the Patriots at home.
Yeah.
Atlanta coming off the bye on Monday night, and then the bye. And then out of the bye, they play the Carolina. Joe, this is going to be the last undefeated team in football. I can tell you right now.
Keep going. I mean, if the Chargers get by,
if the Chargers get by the Colts, then our next flag, and they could very easily turn into a. They could lose to Denver this week.
Sure,
the Chargers could. If JJ McCarthy gets it together and he's back by week 8, they could see them losing week 8, week 10. For Buffalo, I mean, I can't.
Tampa,
they have so much success in the regular season against Kansas City. There's no way I'm picking them at home to lose to Kansas City right now.
Right. Yeah, I tend to agree there.
What is it? This Tampa short week in Houston.
The Houston games had me nervous, but I mean, with that offense is going to be different in week 12. You'd like to think that's been one of the games that makes me very nervous this year. And same with Cincinnati, but that's the Browning Cincinnati. I don't care about that team.
Can I say week 11 against Tampa Bay?
You can.
I think that's a good spot. The depth of the wide receivers that they have at their disposal, they will have the offensive line, or with Wirfs, the injury at the beginning and getting him potentially back, assuming health at other spots. What, Godecki's banged up now too for them.
Yeah, he tried to play through that foot. You could tell he wasn't right.
So I think you've got a little bit of runway to potentially reinvigorate the offensive line. And then Buffalo's defensive line is going to get reinvigorated with some guys getting back off suspension and Ed Oliver getting healthy. So I understand, but if all the pieces are there, I think Tampa's front is well equipped to give you combativeness in that regard. It's early enough. It's mid-November, so it's not like, Florida team coming up playing. Does that narrative exist for every Florida team, or just
no? I invoke it as often as I can.
Okay, yeah. So it's early enough in the season with week 11 and November 16th. Can we get that game out of the 1:00 slate? I know you like the 1:00. Can we do it at 4? Can we compromise?
I don't know what slot I like, Kyle. There's problems. There's problems with all of them. I like 7:00 Monday Night Football. That's what I like.
Right.
Yeah. Get that one.
Tragically, not in the cards. But I think Tampa offensively and then defensively, the Kalijah Cansey injury hurts. But, I think Todd Bowles winning game plan, if you can stay on schedule offensively with what Buffalo has looked like early, I think they kind of need to buy back some of that trust as far as the ceiling of that unit amidst some of the transition that they've been through. And they got young guys that player development's not always linear. So what does that look like? I'd say Tampa week 11.
I agree with you. I think I'd go Tampa. And if you don't go Tampa, you start to get weird, right? You start to think, well, oh my God, are they 16-0 going into Philadelphia in week 17?
Right. Because even the Pittsburgh game, you've got extra rest because you play in Thursday in Houston. Now, Houston, maybe the offensive line figures it out by then. And that defense does end up. I think their most healthy block for challenges is weeks 11 through 13, and then Philly week 17, unless there's an upset in the first 8 weeks of the season, and maybe Kansas City figures it out. But man, it's a good looking schedule. This has, and you have the head-to-head against Baltimore already, so you're looking at potential 1-seed stuff here for Buffalo.
The Chargers are our new public enemy for that, feels like. But it's a lot of season left, right? 2 weeks in this thing.
Right. So we just picked Tampa. Let's go to Tampa.
They played a couple of thrilling games here, huh?
Yeah. This is what Baker Mayfield, first quarterback in a long time to engineer 2 consecutive Fourth quarter comebacks in the final 2.5 minutes
Jeez.
in a long time.
2 road games, too.
Yes.
You get their home opener against the Jets. Boy, that's going to be a bloodbath.
Joe, they did not turn the ball over against the Texans.
It's helpful.
That in and of itself. And Jared Goff had 5 turnovers against the Texans. Josh Allen had 3 turnovers against the Texans. 2 had 3 turnovers against the Texans. And there's a lot more than that, but those are just the 3 off the top of my head because I know it from a Miami standpoint and then the talking point of what they did to Jared Goff and Josh Allen last year.
I had a parlay for that Texans-Bucks game. Both of the quarterbacks throwing an interception, and neither one of them cooperated. So,
didn't Herbert have 3 in the playoff game too?
Telling you, man, I thought I had good process.
You did have good process. So challenging matchups for Tampa. Philly week 4.
Yeah, it's in Tampa. That's
it's
helpful.
In Tampa, yeah. Well, and there's some elements of this schedule that are very favorable for them as well. They get San Francisco week 6. Is Brock back by then? But that's in Tampa as well. Detroit Monday Night Football week 7, which is probably what I would pick for the game right now because it's Detroit in Detroit.
Yeah.
Against another physical team. I think they could very easily lose to either Philly or San Francisco in weeks 4 and 6, but I would pick Detroit week 7 for the first loss.
You feel pretty good about Philly, them handling Philly in week 4. Philly's not, they're 2-0. They're not them overly impressive, right? But
that's kind of, they've just been a weird team offensively.
Yeah.
Right. So
very weird.
I think Tampa, and I know that they're coming off of just scoring 20 points against Houston, but it's Houston at home, and that's a great defense. And Philly's got a good defense too, but I think Houston probably has some more challenges as far as matchups from like a pass rush perspective with them not having Wirfs.
Yeah.
And the passing game in Philly's got to get going before I'm like really in on Philly to be kind of the wagon that they have the potential to be. And it hasn't been the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then it's September game in Tampa, right? I think that's pretty meaningful.
Is that a 1:00 too?
It's 1:00.
Yeah, it is 1. Hot.
I
don't know if they designed the stadium to keep the sideline and the visitor side on the sun the whole game.
Patriots didn't care about the sun.
Everybody's coming down with the tarps and the PVC pipes now.
It's hot, man.
Everybody figured it out.
Detroit week 7.
That's my vote. We don't have to agree.
I think it's logical. I don't know that I'm just going to believe that Tampa Bay is going to handle all of their business against Philly, Seattle, and San Francisco. I feel like they should. That's not how the league goes. And
Right.
Tampa's got questions, right? But I'll align with you. I think Detroit's the most logical place to find one. I wonder if they're favored against Philly in week 4. That'll be interesting to find out.
You want to do Philly next?
Yes.
And then we'll go to break and then finish.
Sounds good.
Because we have like the entire NFC West.
Yep. So Philly.
We'll find out some things about the Eagles the next 3 weeks.
And none of the teams played 2 close games as well, right?
Yep.
Had their chances to lose. I mean, CeeDee Lamb catches a couple of passes, and Travis Kelce doesn't hand the ball to Andrew Makuba. Maybe if they call some false starts on some tush pushes. I mean,
Yeah, and I don't want to get in the whole tush push thing.
No, I don't want to either. But
you do the over. You could start calling some things as far as, and the play's been put on the magnifying glass, so I don't know if it's always been to this extreme degree, but like, you want to talk about the margins and where the guys are lining up in the neutral zone. Guards moving early. I know the defensive tackles are moving early too because they're trying to get a jump on it as the game goes on. With what we said about Cincinnati, enjoy being over 500 while it lasts. Philly enjoyed the tush push while it lasts because with the ways in which the play is now being pushed.
Right, they're ruining it for themselves.
You're testing the officials to call neutral zone, and I think that changes the discussion because the entire discussion around it last year was player safety. And the appeal was, well, there's no issues for player safety. Well, now the issues is the neutral zone's not being honored the way that it's supposed to be from an alignment perspective. The center's over top of the ball. I think there's some more ammunition for that play to get put under the microscope.
I think the Eagles lose this week to the Rams.
So do I.
I feel like Stafford's going to have some opportunities to throw the ball. I don't know about their CB2 situation. I'm not impressed with the Eagles offense right now. Rams defense has played really, really well. Hurts under pressure, not a great situation. I like the Rams this week and, avenge that loss, kind of a tight loss last year in the playoffs. So give me the Rams.
Right down to it. Yep, I'm with you 100%.
All right, Kyle, I got to make up an ad read that I didn't get to in the first one, so hopefully you're aware of that. So we'll tell everyone about Game Time at FanDuel, and then we'll be right back. So folks, be sure to stick with us. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, it's easy, and it's backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Game Time recently, got those tickets to Bills-Ravens last minute, and it was awesome. And I was really appreciative that I can see my exact seat view before buying. Wanted to make sure I was where I wanted to be in the stadium. And Game Time is faster, it's cheaper, and it's less stressful than any other way I've ever purchased tickets. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I want to bet, whether that's player props, spreads, over-unders, building a same-game parlay, or even the live betting as the action unfolds. It just makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your favorite team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little energy to your game days. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
You had me so self-conscious for all of segment 2 with the ad. I'm like, how did I mess that up?
You didn't. That one was on me. That one was on me.
All right. So we have 49ers, Rams, Cardinals, and Packers left. That's what my notes have. Is that correct? Is that factual information?
I think so. Like 3 teams in the NFC West. Packers. We did the Bucs and Eagles, right?
Yeah. We could not in good faith pick the Bucs to lose in week 3. I believe they're wearing their white creamsicles in week 3 against.
They're playing the Jets.
Yeah. Well, I know, but I'm just saying it's a uniform aesthetic note.
Yeah, I can't lose in those, right?
You're not going to lose in those.
We need to make sure that the Eagles are not wearing their Kelly Greens this week because it'll be tough to lose in those. It'll be real tough.
All right. Well, the good news, let's do the Packers first because the NFC West teams all play each other. So we could do the thing there if we need to. Green Bay. Extra rest, Browns, week 3. What do you think?
Tough day to be a Labrador retriever,
Cowboys, Micah Parsons revenge game. If you think there's any chance Micah does not absolutely obliterate that game with the way that he's played in the first 2 weeks, I don't know what to tell you.
And Cooper Beebe's on IR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Parsons going to get after it. That game's in Dallas too, huh? I wonder what the reception from Cowboys fans is going to be. Is Parsons like a public enemy now of Cowboys fans, or are they just mad at Jerry?
They should be mad at Jerry. They should not be mad at Micah. Micah and Mulligetta went back to Jerry the week he was traded to try to get it going again, and they're like, "Nah, we're good."
I bet he's happy. Like in hindsight, he's like, "Man, I'm on a good team, a good coach." Like,
I think the thing that stings is he grew up a Cowboys fan, right? Like,
oh, did he? I thought he was like from the Northeast.
He's from Harrisburg.
Why are you a Cowboys fan in Harrisburg?
I don't know.
I have a sidebar, and I know this is dangerous.
Oh boy.
I was listening to Ryan Fitzpatrick. He was on Eric Wood's podcast, and he was talking about some international work that he did this offseason. And one of the things that stood out to him about being international was he's like, there are so many Dolphins fans international. Like those people love Dan Marino. And I've always wondered about your Dolphins fandom story. Like, you've given it to me many times, but you would say, like, the Dolphins are always on TV. I love Dan Marino, and you became a Dolphins fan, right?
Yeah.
And now I've sensed, now I've heard that's what he said, well, what's up with all the Dolphins fans here? He's like, well, this is the only game that was on when we were growing up was the Dolphins, and it's Dan Marino. He's really good.
Yeah.
And so, like, I did not realize the global impact of Dan Marino as, like, every game's on TV all the time. Everyone's watching this guy, and they fell in love.
And he helped redefine the game, right? Like, as
He
far
really
as like
did.
what the game has become and what he was in 84, 85, and 86 is like 30 years ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And there were some other great, like the Don Coryell offenses and the Bill Walsh with the West Coast offense, but I don't. It's just something about
for 5,000 yards in the 80s.
Swashbuckler Dan Marino, right? It was great. Packers.
I'm giving you grace as your for your Dolphins fandom origin story.
They have a week 5 bye, and then they get the Bengals, and then they get the Cardinals.
I'm not seeing losses here, Kyle Krabs.
In Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers' revenge game.
Man, you know what's funny is I didn't even look at that and think to myself, Aaron Rodgers' revenge game. And I should, right? I should think about that, but I didn't. Do you think Broderick Jones has a prayer against Micah Parsons? A prayer?
No.
This guy's falling all over himself.
Philly week 10 with the Eagles coming off the bye?
I like that.
That's probably the most logical one, right? Now, they could lose to Pittsburgh.
What about at Arizona? Are we being too quick to dismiss this? Arizona can run the ball a little bit. Kyler's got escapability. Arizona's defense has got some juice to it.
I would be surprised.
I would be surprised as well, but I think it's worth mentioning.
They're also they will be coming off of playing a physical Colts team in week 6 before as well.
Who, Arizona?
Yeah.
What a weird game that is.
In Indy.
This feels like a hard one to find a loss too as well, Kyle.
I'm going to advocate for Philly week 10 with the Eagles coming off the bye.
I'll meet you there as well. I think the Eagles offense will find itself by then.
Yep. It's enough time.
And the Eagles know all about Micah Parsons. So
they should have some answers there. And those two tackles are as well equipped as anybody to handle as much as you want to leave one-on-ones with Micah.
Yeah.
Let's do the Cardinals.
Arizona.
Because I'm going to pick them to lose this week to the San Francisco 49ers.
What do you like about that?
Just a gut feeling. Mac Jones. Some newness to the offense.
I'll go the following week.
You're going to pick them to lose at home on a short week to Seattle?
Yeah.
All right, so we're both fading the Cardinals.
Well, I mean, you got tight wins against the Saints and Panthers.
Right. It's a concern.
They hadn't run the ball as well as they needed to as well in 2 games.
It's a concern. All right, so let's do the 49ers next.
Okay.
They have the Cardinals at home this week, who I just picked them to beat.
So that's your loss for the 49ers.
No, I picked the 49ers to beat the Cardinals.
Got it. Sorry. Got twisted up.
You picked them to lose the 49ers.
So there it is. There it is.
So that's your pick.
That's my pick.
I'm going to go week 5 in LA against the Rams for San Francisco. That's a Thursday night game in LA with Purdy maybe not being back. And that's now several games worth of Mac Jones film running the offense. I'll pick the 49ers to lose week 5 on Thursday to the Rams.
The Rams are going to feast on Mac Jones. Feast.
Which brings us to the LA Rams. And I think there's a very easy selection to be made here. After we picked the Rams to beat 3 consecutive undefeated teams.
I know.
We picked them to beat the Eagles this weekend. We picked them to beat the Colts in week 4. and I picked them to beat the 49ers week 5. I don't know if you agree with that or not. That last one, because you didn't have to pick a 49ers.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with you there.
Can we agree that they're going to lose week 6 in Baltimore?
Yeah, for sure.
That is a West Coast team coming east for a 1:00 kick against probably the most well-rounded roster in football.
Yep. They get an extra rest, though. I'm sure they're thankful for that.
Yes, they should be.
And then that's into a international affair with Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate that matchup for like all the circumstances there. Baltimore across the country it'll be a shorter flight for them overseas, assuming that game's in London to get,
It is.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to be thinking about. The Ravens into a international game. I think they fall there for sure.
Okay, so there you have it. That is our prediction after the first 2 weeks of the season for every undefeated team, and there's 10 of them, their first loss of the season. We did all the winless teams yesterday. Tomorrow we're picking all the week 3 games. We're talking about the matchups at play, and then Friday's takes on takes. So we hope you come back and see us. I'm Kyle Krabs. He's Joe Marino. We appreciate you guys for checking out the show. Make it a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll talk to you all again tomorrow here on Locked on NFL Scouting.